Oh my goodness, debt is stealing your future, but today you can take it back.
And we know because we've been there. We've been in debt up to our eyeballs, but we found a way to get out so that we would have financial freedom. And there is hope for you too. There are 3 steps that we're going to talk about in this video that will show you the way. So stay with us. Step number 1. This may be the most difficult. You have to identify the problem and realize you have a problem with debt.
Yeah, that first step, that foundation is waking up and saying, oh my goodness, we are in financial trouble.
And we don't want to be there anymore, which
Absolutely.
is why we took these steps so that we could have some peace of mind. And let's give you a little background as to where we came from, because I think it's important to let you all know that we're not just sitting here talking hypotheticals.
Yeah,
This really happened to us.
it's our story.
So we've been married 46 years, but way back in the day when we were first married, we were both in the Navy, and we didn't make very much, but we didn't spend very much either.
Right, exactly. We were both lower enlisted people, and we were having a good time, but we were spending too much.
Well, we were spending too much because the Navy sent us to Okinawa for 3 years, and that's where we had our first son.
Yep.
And then they sent us back to California. And then when you're there, you need to have a house or an apartment and a car, because in Okinawa, we didn't have a car that
That's
we brought.
right.
We just bought one there. So we didn't have money enough to buy a new car. So what do? We finance a car.
We financed it.
Yes. And both of us were working. So guess what? We couldn't just have one car. Well, in the beginning we did.
We did.
Because I rode a bicycle.
Right. And
with a baby on the back.
Oh.
To daycare. And then I would go to work.
You go to work.
That worked for a little while. But then we realized we needed another car. And my parents came through and gave us a car.
They helped us out a lot in terms of that. And what they didn't help us out with were insurance, gas, and maintenance.
That's true.
Yeah.
So we ended up starting to use credit cards, which was, you take out some debt on the credit card, and then, oh my goodness, you only have to pay a little bit each month. That was wonderful.
Yeah, and I remember we did, to me now it's silly, by taking a Shell gas card and saying, oh, good, I'll just fill it up. And then at the end of the month, it's like, oh my goodness, look at this.
We couldn't afford that payment. Right. So you can just do minimum
payments on a Shell gas card, of all things.
Yeah, I don't remember that so much. Maybe that was just because I didn't want to remember it.
You didn't want to remember it.
But we started accumulating debt.
Yeah.
And then we were sent to Hawaii. Oh boy, that was a tough place, right? Because at this time I got out of the Navy. The Navy wanted to send me on a ship. And by this time we had 2 boys at home. And I didn't want to have someone else raise them. So we decided as a couple that we would have me stay home. And that cut into our budget. But I was pretty frugal. But then we moved to Hawaii. And guess what? You can only take 1 car with you.
Yeah.
So we sold the paid for car and took our financed car with us. And then Michael rode a bike.
I took the bike to work most days of the week.
Because he could do that in Hawaii. And then I, of course, drove the kids around to school and picked them up from baseball practice, things like that. So we were living nicely in Hawaii. We had base housing, but that wasn't furnished. It was empty, and we had to buy furniture, and we had to buy washers and dryers. And so guess what? After 3 years, the ones that we had there rusted. So when we got transferred back to California, now we have to have another car, because California, as you know, you can't get around with just 1 car if you are working. So I was a stay-at-home mom, but I was taking kids back and forth everywhere.
Practice, school again.
And I did have some odd jobs.
Yeah.
I was doing some babysitting, and I worked at a yogurt shop while the kids were in school. But then Michael would go off for 6 months at a time. Yeah. And, it was easier just to use a credit card when money got tight. So the debt was piling up. We had car payments. We had to buy a washer and dryer. So Sears was our good friend too.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So we had quite a bit of debt. But, we could always make our monthly payment. So I never felt like that was a problem.
Yeah, we never defaulted on anything.
That was a good thing. the Navy sent us back to Hawaii. And this time, of course, we had to sell one of the cars again. And I knew that by now I needed to have a college degree because I wanted to have more income. And of course, the kids were in school, and so I had time to go to school.
Yeah, so you could go full time.
And I went to the University of Hawaii, where I eventually graduated with our son, who graduated from high school same month. That was really fun. But now I had student loan debt because our son got accepted to Beloit College, and we needed to take out a Parent Plus loan because we didn't have any money to send him to school. But we were determined to do that. And we were able again to make the payments.
Right.
And now I had a degree, and I decided that I wanted to be a teacher. So I went to get my teaching credential, cha-ching, that was some more money. And again, we could make the monthly payments. And once I became a teacher, I did have a better income. So now let's just recap. Our backstory is we racked up credit card debt, we racked up car loan debt, and we racked up student loan debt. We were in over our heads of about $225,000, but we were making monthly payments.
Right. We could see this wasn't sustainable.
Yeah, it was pretty sad. So we started out in California working on my PhD, as the kids had already left because now our youngest one
he was attending the University of California at Santa Barbara.
Yeah, and so they were out of the house, and we had purchased our house with a VA.
With a VA home loan?
No down. So we could still afford all of our payments. Right. That was good. So then we sold that one and bought a bigger house, and then they leave home. So now we have this too big of a house, but at least it had a place for me to study my PhD work. And while I would study, I would be revising papers, and I had the radio on or the computer on, something in the background, studying and listening to Dave Ramsey. Now, if you haven't heard about Dave Ramsey, he is the founder of Financial Peace University. And that whole sound of that just really intrigued me. Financial Peace University. I was looking for peace.
Yeah, and he was a great entertainer. He'd bring on these people that with tons of debt. Actually, it sounds like us. And found a way for those people to become debt-free.
And he would say things like, you got to live scorched earth, you got to get rid of all your stuff and sell things and get 16 new jobs, or beans and rice, and no go to a restaurant unless you're working there. Things like that we started to say, hey, maybe if we do all those things, we too could get out of debt. I had a good job. Michael had a good job. We had a big shovel, Dave Ramsey likes to say. But I heard him say, you can get out of debt. There is hope. And he would have these people on his podcast that would call in on Fridays and yell, I'm debt free. And I really wanted that.
Yeah, I was always excited and fired up when I heard that. And I thought, that's a concept. But how do we do that?
Yeah, how do we do that? So we had heard that he was that there was going to be his program called Financial Peace University. It was being offered at one of the local churches. So we signed up for it and we went. And the first thing it said was, this is step number 2, stop spending, no new debt.
Yeah, and that was a new concept for us. It's like, oh, you're taking our drug away.
Yeah, we like to spend, and we needed to spend, and we didn't really understand how to do that. So the first time we went to Financial Peace, we kind of flunked out.
Yeah, they give you a big workbook, and it's like, okay, here you go. Do it.
But they really walk you through that, but we weren't ready. So then we had to go back home and struggle a little more, and then the opportunity came for us to do it again. So we signed up for another one closer to home, and this time we were ready. And when we say step number 2 is stop spending, no new debt, we were determined.
Yeah, I remember going on an allowance. Here's your money for the week.
Yes, and I had the same allowance too. And so once that's gone, you can't get any more. So now step number 3, and Dave Ramsey has several steps, but we just did 3. The third one was list all your debts, smallest to largest, and then use the snowball effect. And that means you're going to throw all your extra money on the smallest debt. And when that's paid off, you put all your extra money on the second debt. Well, we were still living paycheck to paycheck. So we're like, how are we going to have extra money? Well, I was working at a school that offered supervisions that I could get paid for to go to like a basketball game or a volleyball game or football, soccer, all those things where the teachers were required to sign up for 4 of them during the year.
That's right.
Most teachers didn't like doing them. I like doing them because I got extra pay. And so I would take the Friday night freshman basketball game, JV basketball game, and then the varsity basketball game, get paid for 3 supervisions in one night. And I also could correct papers and do my lesson planning because all I had to do was pay attention to the crowd to make sure nobody got too rowdy.
Right. And also during that time period, you got a promotion because you got your PhD.
Yes, I finished my PhD, and that did give me more money.
Right.
So about the same time, we had heard about people who were saving money by extreme couponing. It was a big show on TLC, and I think you can still see some
I think
on
they're
YouTube.
still out there.
They're still out there, but now they're doing it a little differently because things are on the
electronically.
Yeah, on your phone. But back in those days, we would go buy 4 newspapers every Sunday, which were $2 a piece, take out the inserts. Sometimes we would go to the coffee shops and find.
Yeah, people leave their newspaper. We'll just take them there for free.
Yeah, so we took the inserts, which are all the coupons, and then there was a whole system, and they were called the Crazy Coupon Ladies.
Yeah, she was.
And there were 2 of them, and they had listings every week of where the
best deals were.
Yes, and you could go there and match up at Kroger's, and which is Safeway, CVS, Walgreens, and which we had never really shopped in those stores like Walgreens and CVS because
they're too expensive.
They're very expensive. But if you have coupons and then you have store sales and then you have rebates and you combine all that together, there was one time that we were able to come out of a CVS and not pay any money. We got it all paid for with the coupons, and they even paid us money back.
Yeah, people were looking at us like, how'd they do that?
We had a ball. It was turning into a game.
Mm-hmm.
So we were throwing all that extra money, which, that it added up because we had stacks of toothpaste and lots of laundry detergent that we didn't have to buy every time we needed it because we had stacks of it, but it saved us money in the long run. And then each debt started getting paid off. And eventually we paid it all off. It took us about 3 years.
Yes, super liberating to know that you don't have to wake up with a drowning in debt.
So I'm Louisa.
And I'm Michael.
And if you're new here, welcome. And if you're not new here, welcome back. We just want to say thank you so much for supporting our channel. We are having a ball making these videos, and whatever we are earning from these videos, we're giving back to the community that we live in here in Mexico. So thank you.
We're shopping locally. We help out where we can. We donate where we can. So we really, really thank you.
So let's get back to the video. Drowning in debt is not a good place to be. But we had the last thing to pay off was the house. And we were throwing now a big chunk of money at the house payment. And the mortgage was going lower and lower. And then we thought, what are we going to do when this is paid off?
Yeah, when it's paid off, we're going to sit there and look at our pretty lake, which was pretty, but we always had that travel bug.
But now that we were debt free, we didn't have the stress of having to go to work. And so one day we were hiking one mountain in El Paso, and I was listening to a book on audiobooks that said, you got to get rid of your stress. You're doing everything right, but if you're stressed, you're not going to live very long. And the stress I was having at school with students and the school shootings were running rampant at the time, I looked at Michael and I said, I think I need to retire.
It's time to go.
And you know what? We didn't have any bills, so we could.
Yeah.
Because we paid everything off
and
except the house.
Yeah.
So we went back and talked to our financial guy, and we talked to our people at school to say, have I got enough years here that I can retire? And they all said yes.
Yeah. What are you waiting for?
So we sold the house, bought an RV with cash, and traveled the U.S. for 4 years.
Yeah, it's so liberating to be able to do what you want without having to worry about debt and drowning in more debt.
Right. No monthly payments. That's amazing. And paying in cash. We did that for a really, really long time. And then Now Dave Ramsey wouldn't be so happy with that.
No, we learned how to make credit cards work for us.
Yes, and we use credit card points to get free travel. And that's a whole nother video.
Yeah.
And we do have a little bit on our channel about that. But we have combined how to use points from credit cards with being debt free. So it works for us.
Yes.
But we just want to let you know that there is hope. You can get out of debt. It takes some work, a lot of work.
Yeah.
It takes some discipline, a lot of discipline, but it is possible. And so please know that we're here for you. If you have any questions, we really want to support you in your efforts, because once you're debt free, you can retire.
Yeah, those rewards are wonderful. The world is waiting for you. We chose Mexico, but we might choose Ecuador. Who knows?
Or
What's
Colombia or somewhere else. But we don't have to go to work.
Yeah.
So that's really freeing. So thanks for being here. We appreciate you. Hope to see you in the next one.
Ciao.
Hasta luego. Bye.